Welcome, everybody, to this week's Distressed Property Call. This podcast and broadcast is brought to you by Home Loan Advocates. That's right, my partner David Bartel at Home Loan Advocate. They specialized in distressed property solutions for buyers, sellers, investors, and realtors across the country. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter the situation you're in. If you're working on a distressed property and you need some assistance, call 805-413-8000. Again, that number is 805-413-8000. Ask for David Bartels or visit homeloanadvocates.com. Or if you'd like, send David an email at david@homeloanadvocates.com. This episode is also brought to you by Monster Marketing. That's right. That's the reason this call started and why we do it each and every week. Monster Marketing. It is a direct marketing method that I created to get face-to-face with people that have missed payments. It's literally 3% of the market, some more in other areas, but Monster Marketing guarantees face-to-face results with these people. We will give you proven step-by-step coaching, training, and mentoring so that you can convert those individuals into listings or deals, depending on being a realtor or investor. If you would like to find out more, go visit Honish.com. That's HONISH.com.
My name is Lee Honish. I am a marketer, and you can find out more information about my innovative marketing techniques by going to Honish.com. I am joined by the king of distressed properties, the greatest mitigator on the planet, and generally all-around good guy, David Bartels.
You're doing too much boxing.
Right? How are you today, David?
I'm doing just fine. I'm healing from a cold that I'm glad
sorry to hear
done
that.
with.
My daughter started to get a cold on Monday. Friday's a big day for her. She's doing her first big class trip in a bus going away for the weekend. And of course, I can't leave that alone. So, of course, I'll be going to Utah on Saturday to watch her perform no matter what. But I won't follow the bus, David. I promise I won't follow the bus and do some of the crazier things I've done in my past of hiring security guards to watch her school. You know, I've grown up a little bit as a father.
Goodness.
Oh, my gosh. Terrible, right? Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to your call. David Bartels is Home Loan Advocates. Tell us about Home Loan Advocates, David.
Well, we're doing a little real estate consulting, helping people really work through some of the challenges and obstacles of closing transactions that are in distress, whether or not it has equity or negative equity. We do that. So we're regarded as a leader in short sale negotiations, and we have a reputation for taking deals that are dead and figured out how to get those closed and everybody paid on the transaction. So if you got a transaction like that, you want to have a conversation, 805-413-8000, 805-413-8000. Of course, my email is david@homeloanadvocates.com.
And of course, thank you to everybody who follows or shows up on these calls or the people that we invite. I know that there are both advocate marketing people, Monster Marketing people, and people we've invited to these calls to find value in it, and especially all those who listen on the extended family, right, on the podcast and all of that. Click sign up. David is available on Spotify, which just sounds cool to his granddaughter. I mean, really, just to be perfectly honest.
What's Spotify?
Right, that's exactly. You're on iHeartRadio, David, if you can believe that. I just love doing technology with him. So today we will take questions. We'll do a couple of topics. We'll cover anything you guys want to talk about. We do have a really good sized coaching room today, so go ahead and fire your questions. We'll start with Moby's question. I gave my opinion before we started to kind of gap the time. So I'll ask you, David, in your opinion, is the market declining, staying stable, or still going up at a normal average?
Well, it depends on a lot of factors, but in general, and my worldview is Southern California, the market seems to have stabilized and is flat. Now, we are seeing there is some downward pressure still on pricing that's above the median home market, the home prices. So each market really has a different median home price. And in general, what we see is that the housing prices that are under a market's or a neighborhood's median home price, those are it's a lot more robust activity, and it seems to be more flat to up, slightly up in most cases. And if you're above the median home prices, it seems to be flat to down, mostly down in those situations. And of course, the higher you get above median home price, the more pressure there is, because there's just a lack of buyers and lots of inventory. So those prices are declining still. But the most of the market is what I would consider flat.
There you go. Everybody go ahead and load up questions. You can ask us about anything, general real estate, marketing, funnels, lions and tigers and bells, bears, bells. Oh my, I'm just tired. I'm tired of sleeping on an air mattress at my parents' house. All right, David, to fill the gap, let's, have we done a branding show ever? Because you're very big on branding.
I'm not sure that we have ever done a branding show.
All right, let's do a branding show. All of you, I'll give you the marketing perspective overview, and then we'll discuss David's, because branding is a very important thing to David, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from my perspective, for all of you understanding this, when I meet or I consult with anybody, right, I want to find out if, David, if I took everything away from you, right, if you lost everything, the wife, the car, the house, the kids, like literally everything, what would be the job you wake up and do the next day? Starting from zero.
Okay, do I still have my database?
No, you got to start from scratch, David. You must start from scratch in this scenario.
Well, I would have to start with me and my history.
Okay.
And I'd have to start telling my story all over again.
Right.
So if you drop me off in the middle of Nebraska where I know nobody,
right.
Okay, I would survey the landscape. I'd figure out where everybody else is, and I would try to slide into a niche where they're not. And I would begin to build a reputation to do things better, faster, and smarter than everybody else.
And I assume this is, you're talking about your fallback job would be real estate still.
I would think so, because that provides the greatest opportunity. And if I also had no money, now I might go out and find some sort of side hustle in order to get some cash flow going, just so I can meet my immediate needs. But but yes, I would also be focused on a longer term play around real estate.
And the reason I bring that up for all of you listening, and feel free to type in your questions or what you think your it would be. That's really important, right? So when I'm asked to brand someone, David, or I'm asked to coach someone, it's always about the passion. Like, what would get you up if you hit rock bottom? Like, what would get you out of bed? What would you really want to do? What would you be passionate about? That's what you need to brand, right? And I know for you, because we've talked about it many times, your story, right? Starting your real estate job, your company, your brokerage, at the bottom to rise all the way to the top. It's pretty much the same story. I love the story with you and Help You Sell. Could you tell it briefly?
Well, when I started Help You Sell by accident. I did not mean to be in the real estate business. I'm really focused on short sales, but the market was shifting. And in 2011, 2012, I was really starting to worry about short sales going away, like some of you did and maybe still are. And I was wondering, I've got to do something else. I'm gonna go broke. And I had just gone broke, and I didn't want to go broke again. So I didn't like how that felt. And, because in 2009, I lost over $1 million starting a no upfront fee loan mod company. And our saving grace was we said, okay, well, the transition out of that is short sales. And so we started doing short sales and doing really well. And I was speaking around the country, and I ended up speaking at the Help You Sell's national sales meeting in 2012. And in 2013, they approached me sooner, but in 2013, we started meeting seriously, and it didn't take that long. And I was the proud owner of a new Help You Sell franchise in Ventura County. because, and my thought process was, what's the next wave? We were shifting from negative equity. And I was thinking, well, the next thing is going to be marginal equity. And I thought that a business model that charged consumers a set fee versus a 5 or 6% commission, and they could keep more of their equity, would appeal to consumers. Again, it's thinking with my advocate hat on. Right. And I quickly, so I signed up on that, and then I did nothing because our business was robust. And then, a few months later, 3 people walked into my office wanting to know about how Help You Sell worked. I'd never given a listing presentation. I wasn't a broker. I had to hire a broker to be the broker of the company. And we started going, and I said, I need to pay more attention to this. And within, and so that was 2013 was a partial year. I think we did 37 transactions that first year. And then in 2018, we were the top sales team in Ventura County, and I'm licensed now, and I have a broker now, and things are very exciting.
Yeah.
But we continue to innovate and fill needs and figure out what people want and try to deliver it.
As it should be. So if you're following along and you've never really thought about personally branding yourself, you just should. I mean, I don't see any way around it. I know that I'm working with a new business partner right now, and branding a message, right? It's always about branding the message, getting it out there, and then creating content for that message. It's no different than monster marketing. It's no different than advocate marketing, or like when you decide that that's the direction you want one of your funnels to be. And in my world, they're just funnels, right, David? So if you tomorrow decided that, and I know this, you have separate funnels that all have their separate branding, correct?
Yes, for sure.
And I'm just pointing it out to everybody. You can't be one thing for all things, I think. I really personally like individual branding of each item or each funnel or each action you want to take. And then it comes down to the content factor, right? Because that's the most organic way to really brand and build a name. And talk about your videos, David. I mean, it's really kind of an important part of your rapport that you're doing with social media. And we've talked about it a few times on this call. Talk a little bit about your perspective on putting content out.
Well, so what I learned early on, and by the way, I think this applies to a lot of ages now, because when I'm out and about, in the beginning when I started, I put all my focus on how much money the seller was going to save if they listed their house with me. And what I learned really quickly is that people didn't care much about how much money. They talked to me because they thought they would save some money, but they wouldn't hire me, and I couldn't figure out why they wouldn't hire me. And I don't know where I picked it up. Maybe it was in the shower. That's a lot of my good ideas come from. But it occurred to me one day somehow that nobody they didn't care how much money that they thought I would save if they didn't think I could sell their house. And when I said, okay, I need to talk about how we're going to sell the house, and when we started doing that, then all of a sudden we started getting listings. And so now you're in a scenario, right now where we're seeing listing agents charging. I'm not the least expensive guy in town anymore. In the beginning I was. Now I'm higher price. You've had purple bricks come in. They were lower than we were. They're gone now, but then now you got Really that's coming in, and they're like $3,000 to list the house. And I'm not sure what their number is, but they're coming in and they're going to give people a run for the money. In your market right now, there are a bunch of guys that are charging 1%. That's less than I am. You've got Redfin that's charging 1%, and they've got a big brand and a great reputation, behind them. You've got you're seeing high-end brokers who, not long ago would pound their chest and tell you how they would never take less than 6%, and sometimes I get 7%. To take a listing. Now, all of a sudden, it's pretty common for me to go out and hear people doing 4%, commissions all the time because of the scarcity of listings. So people are, and so you that are listening to this might be in a situation where you feel like you need to discount your commissions in order to win a listing. And I'm just going to tell you real quick that unless they have confidence that you're going to be able to sell their house, they're going to choose somebody else. They're going to choose a higher priced agent that gives them more confidence, is going to sell their house faster and for more money than you're going to be able to. If your presentation is just about savings, you are going to have a low conversion rate. Now, that's a long setup for the answer to the simple question.
It's okay.
And the simple question is why? What's my perspective on content, putting content out? And the answer to that is that I realized that it wasn't enough for me to save money. If they were going to save, yes, you're going to save money, but you don't have to give up full service expertise or results in the process. And the content really comes from explaining that to people. How are we, in what ways are we delivering extraordinary service? Yeah, you're saving money, but what are you giving up? And the answer is nothing. You're getting full service. So we brand that as better than full service. You're getting expertise. We do that with our market videos we're doing it with like the market updates, that I do on a really regular basis to get thousands of views. And so at the end of the day, we're having to round that out, and then we show them that we're getting better results because we measure our KPI, our key performance indicators, against the average, and we're able to say that we sell our houses 55.7% faster than the average MLS agent does, and we sell our houses for 8.7% more money than the average MLS. That data is available in your MLS right now. You can pull up your data, you can pull up their data, and you can find advantageous ways to demonstrate your expertise. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like a video to do that. So when I go on a listing, I demonstrate that right in advance by sending them what we call a pre-listing package. And in that pre-listing package or email that we send, depending on whether or not we have an email or not, we almost always do, what we're able to do is I'm sending them, here's the comps that we're going to review. Here's our thoughts on what the market is doing right now. And we send them a copy of that video to them in advance. We show them examples of how our marketing is going to work. We give them a link to show it all the services that we're going to provide. They're already talking to us because of savings, but what they don't know is what do they have to give up in order to get that done. So we address those questions and concerns in advance. So when I get to that listing presentation, if they're ready to go, then I'm going to win that deal. It's my deal to lose. And as long as I can convince them that they're going to get expert assistance and as good or better results that they would get from somebody else, and the side benefit is they're going to save more money, I'm going to win that listing almost every single time.
There you go. So if you're keeping up, there's your branding.
That's our brand, by the way.
Right. And as it should be, right? Your wake up and get up every day is about you doing real estate and helping people. You build that brand. You then create content for that brand. Those are the first two important factors for all of you if you're trying to do this or planning on doing this for yourself. If you need help, I'm crowbarring in a commercial. Go to honish.com, HONISH.com, fill out the form. I'll talk to you for free. I'll tell you what your brand is. I'll tell you what your unique selling proposition is. I truly fundamentally believe this, David. It's a segue. 99% of what you do is for free. I just fundamentally believe that. How is that in your business model? I'm going to wake up every day, talk real estate, and I know I'm going to give out way more than, and you'll be rewarded for it. But I think it's my opinion, now that I am doing more coaching and more consulting, more speaking, more networking, I'm shocked at people really looking for immediate results. Like if I just put up the right branded page, if I just put the right video, like it's not about that. It's about consistency and carrying this really 99% free message constantly. And I actually saw it play out at a networking event yesterday, two completely different styles, right? One of connecting and empathy towards a human, and the other just literally straight up crowbarring a business card into somebody's hand when given the opportunity. And I don't know which one's right or wrong from my perspective. I don't know if I try to be understanding. I believe everybody's got their own style for conversion points. But I'd like to hear your perspective of carrying that brand. And you and I both share this, right? We believe in giving as much as we can.
Well, for sure. Listen, one of the things that frustrates me when I'm working with agents, in particular, who are trying to build a brand, is that they really just put too much emphasis on the money. I mean, I know it's important. I'm not saying that it's not important. And, people talk about what their big why is, and I don't give big, I'm like, my big why is I want to sustain my family. That's why I work
Right.
so hard. I'm not trying to save the world. I'm just trying to figure out how to earn my small slice of the pie. I don't have a major why. I mean, besides, beyond being selfish, providing for my family and creating an opportunity so I can retire, comfortably and maybe have some passive income that comes from, my life's work. So when I think about that, I just focus on doing the right thing, giving people straight advice, even if it means not getting their business.
Right.
And then I look at what's the income we generated for the month? How much did we work that month? And is that a fair exchange rate of pay? Some people get so hung up on, oh, I would never take that listing, and sell that thing if I only made $5,000. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you? I mean, if I could sell that house for $5,000 and it takes me 10 days and a transaction coordinator, 5 or 6 hours over the course of 30 days in order to get paid, $5,000, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, there are factors when you would take less, and a lot of deals we make $3,000 on, and some deals we make $30,000 on. And at the end of the day, it adds up into a month and a year, and I just gotta, did I kill myself to do it? I can tell you this: I've worked a lot harder for a lot less money, and so you really have to have perspective. And ego, I think, really is the enemy of productivity in a lot of cases, and we just turn our nose up at opportunity. And I don't even want to begin to tell you how many $3,000 deals I've done that have turned into $30,000, $60,000, $100,000 relationships with people.
Absolutely. I just had this debate with my business partner yesterday, who was going on and on and on about taking a listing for $4,000 and how it's the least amount she's ever made on a transaction. And I went, why wouldn't I just put it up in one of my Facebook funnels and you get the buyer and keep it off the market? I mean, just be done with it and get the other end. Like, I don't even understand this. What's the problem?
We talk about marketing funnels. There's no better marketing funnel than a sign in a yard. Okay. Yeah. Advertise in a house. I mean, there's nothing that generates business. I mean, this is why listing agents really make more money than buyer agents as a rule, because they've got a steady flow of leads, that come as a result of their listings. They're getting both seller leads and they're getting buyer leads, and then they're building referrals. And, if you really want to make it, especially in a shifting market like we've been seeing, you've got to learn how to list properties. And the reason you do that is because whoever's finding the deal is the one that's making the most amount and the most consistent incomes.
I agree.
Buyer agents are in a situation where it's more happenstance. It's a lotto. You don't know, is this the right combination of buyer, timing, and availability? There's so many variables that can get you in trouble, and it's a lot of work. I mean, I think about it. I go out and list the house, and maybe I'm only going to make $8,000 on the deal, but I probably never go back to that house.
Right.
Very rarely do I ever even go back to the house. I mean, I can finish that transaction from anywhere in the world. If I'm representing buyers, I've got to, I'm driving, I'm driving all over town usually on the times I want to be home hanging out with my family, and I may show them 30 houses and we may never do a transaction. So what would you rather do? $5,000, or you use your example, $4,000 on something that's got a relatively high percentage of conversion, or work on a $20,000 deal that's got a relatively low opportunity for conversion?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I like the buyer funnel for all of you, just so you know. My whole perspective on that debate, and it's not really a debate, right? For new people starting out, and I just know this within some of the coaching groups that I run or some of the people I consult with, right? I get asked a lot, especially by brand new, just starting out agents, what's the best thing you can do? Go sit an open house. If you got somebody that'll give you an open house, take the time on Saturday, flag the crap out of it. I mean, really, don't half-ass your signs. I mean, really drag traffic from as far away as you can get away with. I mean, it's just houses and signs. If you make a couple of bucks, so be it. I think back to this, David, right? We did those events for years and years in Las Vegas, and we had people basically say they didn't want to come to the event because Steve Hawks was there, and Steve Hawks is destroying the Las Vegas market. This was a common email that we got when we'd market to the Las Vegas area for those events. People would go,
Really?
oh yeah, very common. He is, in those days, he was quote unquote hated. But now if you follow Steve Hawks, or if any of you do because you're associated with this group, like, he took the time and he took the position. Like, he never backed off that 1% model, even though he was.
Well, now he looks like a genius. Everyone's following his lead.
Right. And that's the way it's always going to be. The person who deviates from the pack, that finds the funnel or the niche or the hole or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, don't think it's not going to get replicated in real estate. I mean, we've seen it with the Monster product. We've seen people build. We went to enough stuff, or they figured out that they could make a version of Monster marketing. And how many times have we inevitably seen it when you half-ass it? People getting in trouble, or the piece being put on social media, and because they don't take the time to know, well, no, we created an advocacy group. We created the next logical step in this, which is to let the homeowner call in and be qualified. Like, when you start to miss crucial steps, or you start to look at not staying true to the brand, or not, it's fundamentally important. And what I see more out of people, since I'm back out there on the road again, meeting and greeting and shaking hands, people are all over the place, David, when it comes to real estate. It's mind-boggling to me.
Everyone's got a different perspective. You know, I think about this all the time. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this, but 205,000 members of the California Association of Realtors, 100,000 of them do 1 or 0 transactions a year.
Right.
And so just because you know, and as a real estate agent, you know, or somebody who's trying to figure out, you know, what their professional career path ought to look like, the best advice I can give everybody is don't take advice from somebody who's less productive than you, more messed up than you are.
Yep.
You really want to take advice from somebody who really has, you know, did the work already. And one of the things that I continue to get coached, as well as provide some coaching, but I like to associate with people who have shortened the learning curve for me, because I don't want to do business with an accountant who says, how do you think we ought to file your taxes this year? I'm like, huh? What do you mean? That's why I hired you. I don't use a lawyer who says, well, what defense should we use? I'm like, what are my options, dude? I don't ask advice from any real estate agent, you know, who hasn't had a clear path, you know, to success. And I want to know not just what's worked for them. I want to know what's not worked, because I can tell you my path has all kinds of situations where we completely failed. And, you know, we blew lots of money and time and effort and energy on things that did not work. And so the trial and error along the way is filled mostly with errors. And what we try to do is figure out what's working and do more of that, and what's not working and do less of that. I mean, I've got some not working and do less of that stuff that's happening right now in the last couple of months that we're discarding and refining and refocusing, on the stuff that works better. So, and I think and I don't think that'll ever end. I don't think we get to the summit and said, okay, that's it. Just let's put it on autopilot and I'm going to Europe for a month. It requires constant refinement because not only is the consumer in shift, but the market itself is in shift and the competition is in shift. So everything is constantly shifting. And just when you feel like you got it figured out, shift happens and you've got to, adjust. And the top producers I know are out ahead of that curve a little bit. And that's where I'm at, is I'm daring to anticipate where the market's going and trying to get out there. Maybe years ahead of our time, but maybe months ahead of our time. Only time will tell, but you got to pick a path and you got to buy into it completely and execute like your life depends on it.
It does. And last but not least, the topic of, wow, this sounds overwhelming. Should I farm this out to experts or get additional help? In your building of your branding, your career, and your content, you've reached out to a lot of people, including me, taking my advice. And how important is that to actually reach out and get good coaching, good content, good VAs, good this, good that?
Listen, I'll just tell you that, like, I go to CAR every year. I go to National Association of Realtors conference almost every year. I go to another 2 or 3 conferences a year, and I sometimes spend 2, 3, 4 days at these things with an objective of just identifying one thing that I can take back to my office and implement. Sometimes I get 1, sometimes it's 2, but I'm really looking for worldview perspective, and I'm looking, and I'm also looking for consistency in if I hear one person. Sometimes I hear something and it doesn't really resonate with me, and then all of a sudden I hear a panel, 2 or 3 or 4 people are talking about the same thing. I'm saying, maybe that's a thing I need to be paying attention to, and it wasn't even on my radar. So I find that these thought leaders, whether I'm with them one-on-one or in a group setting, really get me to really think about my business, where I am, where it's going, and what do we need to do to stay ahead of the game. So I think it's really, really important. Some of my best ideas have come from a casual conversation with somebody that wasn't even planned. And somebody said something so profound to me. I'm like, dude, that's brilliant. And they're like, what's brilliant? And then I go back and implement it, sometimes with a twist and sometimes just exactly the way it said. And it's, and that becomes part of our permanent repertoire. So I think it's really important to have people that you can reason things out. Sometimes it's your broker. Sometimes it's your spouse. Sometimes it's a hired coach. I employ all of those methods. I even, I reason things out with my team here too. Everyone has something to contribute, but more importantly, what's the consumer think about your idea? That's who I really, I want to. If you get a crazy idea, just go ask a bunch of people who aren't in the business, and ask them for their perspective as a consumer, as a buyer, or as a seller, and let them tell you, it's brilliant. I love that. I don't like it. You should consider this. My wife can be great for me because she tells me what I don't like to hear, but she's usually right.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right. I partnered with David, who has given me tons of countless good advice. My current partner, business partner, I've known for 12 years. I watched her come up with a branding message that I couldn't wrap my brain around because I was just too focused on if you don't have that, you really should get it. And here's another segue, keyboard plugin. If you need help figuring out your brand or service or your message, or getting you pointed in the right direction, take advantage of me helping you for free. I love it. I love coming up with ideas for people. Go to honish.com, fill out the free form. David, if somebody needs some help from you, how would they find you?
Well, you can call me, 805-413-8000. You can email me, david@homeloanadvocates.com. Advocates is plural. So 805-413-8000 or david@homeloanadvocates.com.